So for many years, America has remained on course, not without hiccups and deviations certainly, but we have had common goals and held to certain fundamental principles. Today, perhaps more than ever before in history, that foundation appears to be crumbling. We are dealing with far more than just a few cracks, as a majority of millennials and double-digit percentages of Americans at large are openly embracing democratic socialism. What is democratic socialism and who are their leaders? Well, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, otherwise known as AOC, and Bernie Sanders are two national ones. Who do they support? They support Hugo Chavez, Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela. This is their model of perfect government. And it's just appalling that they view this as a perfect model when the people of Venezuela are suffering so much. They have no opportunity. Their pension funds have been depleted. They're starving. They have no electricity, no water, and even no toilet paper. But this is the model that these people ascribe to. And there are those people even here in Idaho. They all speak the same. If you don't agree with them and their form of government, then they call us fascists, and they call us Nazi sympathizers. I was reading in the paper, the Reuters news this morning about the president of Spain was being called a fascist and a Nazi sympathizer by Maduro because the president of Spain is calling for him to step down. The language is tired and old. Along with this, reasons are being threatened with criminal charges and $1,000 fines if they refuse to comply with mandatory vaccination order. Facebook and Amazon are also banning pages and books that express skepticism about the safety and effectiveness of vaccines. Social media has been engaging in censorship through deplatforming people who express controversial viewpoints. They aren't stopping there, however. In a recent editorial, Facebook founder and CEO Mark Zuckerberg called for governments to implement new regulation of harmful content. During the campaign in the general election, I had a young man that was working on my campaign, a student from Boise State University, and he was explaining to me a rule that his professor was initiating in the classroom, and it was called the ouch rule. The professor explained that any student who felt uncomfortable during classroom discussion was able to say ouch and thereby terminate conversation. Think about that. That's right here in Idaho, not New York or California, Idaho. One person's discomfort is now considered grounds to silence discussion. Especially in our institutions of higher learning, our youth should be learning critical thinking skills. If we are to deal with the challenges of an ever-changing world, we must remain open to ideas and thoughts that are different, even if we do not agree with them. We cannot be open-minded if we close our minds. We cannot be tolerant by being intolerant. We cannot be fair by being unfair. We cannot embrace freedom of speech while shunning speech. We cannot stand for equal rights by denying equal rights to some. Our unalienable rights are a blessing to be cherished and protected. Each of these rights comes with a responsibility. The freedom of the press comes with a responsibility to tell the truth. A few months ago, I was pictured standing next to a couple of young men who called themselves patriots. The media went berserk. They camped out in my office for an hour while I was trying to get ready for the Senate. I was studying the script and preparing, and they stared down my chief of staff, and they harassed me on my way to the Senate chambers with their cameras and their microphone on my face and wanted me to make a comment. And they did the same on the way back. And then they camped outside of my office for a couple of hours. Because of this shoddy reporting of the media, the radical left started calling for my resignation. Just a couple weeks ago, our governor was standing next to a known democratic socialist. Now, this is not to criticize our governor, because we both, that is our job to do, is to speak to a wide spectrum of individuals. But the point is how the media handled that. The media was silent. But I'm going to tell you this tonight because you won't hear it from the media. Patriots will fight to protect our rights. Democratic socialists want to remove our rights. Our freedom of religion also comes with the responsibility to allow others to practice their faith. Our freedom to protest comes with the responsibility to do so peacefully. And our freedom of speech comes with the responsibility to allow others to speak, even when we disagree with what they are saying. Freedom of speech isn't necessary to protect popular sentiments and ideas. Freedom of speech is required when people wish to express unpopular and disagreeable viewpoints. It is our Second Amendment right which will protect our First Amendment rights. And as it says in our Idaho Constitution, the people have the right to keep and bear arms, which right shall not be abridged. Our right to keep and bear arms is also facing all manner of threats, even recently this legislative session with the introduction of red flag laws. Fortunately, because of many of your efforts, this legislation did not prevail. Our legislature and our government, Our legislature and our governor successfully implemented constitutional carry, which allows law-abiding adults to carry concealed within city limits just as they are permitted in our counties. Yes, today we find that our First Amendment rights are under attack like never before. Around the country, and even right here in Idaho, we are frequently told that we must give up our freedoms and our heritage. They're too old-fashioned and out of date, we hear. The progressives offer alternatives based on collectivism and central planning. They offer up counter conversations to replace our traditions and history. They are active and they are organized. They spent countless hours lobbying at the Capitol this past year. They are infiltrating our colleges and our universities. They are recruiting in our communities. Are our views soon going to be branded as the harmful content that Mark Zuckerberg and others like him want to regulate and ban? We have a choice. Either we embrace the First Amendment and the rights it recognizes, or we allow the progressives to redefine our rights out of existence. Which path will we choose? I can't help but wonder how this song might be viewed in our society today. The song that was played by our soldiers as they went into the Civil War, and they sang it around the campfires, and that is the battle hymn of the Republic. And I'm going to read the last verse of that to you tonight, where it states, "In the beauty of the lilies, Christ was born across the sea, with a glory in his bosom that transfigures you and me. As he died to make men holy, let us live to make men free, while God is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. No wonder they want to tear down our statues and erase our history. But America is still that shining city on the hill. The very foundations of our nation are in the crosshairs of a progressive machine that, bolstered by its allies in the media, will settle for nothing less than the total eradication of everything that we hold dear. It's up to us, that means all of us here in the room tonight, to take action against these threats. Teach your children these principles, talk to your friends and neighbors, get involved in local organizations working to defend our liberties and our rights. To our young people, Brett, Senate Brett, be brave. You and your young friends that are here today, be brave. Do not let those silence what you have in your heart, or what you know is to be true. Complacency will destroy us. Apathy is our enemy. We must not sit around and wait, or we will find that our liberties have been stolen from us. As conservatives, we must unite to preserve the heritage and history of our great country. America a beacon of light for the rest of the world to see. Together, we can keep Idaho conservative. So God bless you, and God bless America.
Okay, so now I want to thank everybody for the program so far. The next thing we do is we're going to announce the results of the silent auction, and then we'll do our drawing, okay? So I'm just going to read the name of the people who won, and so you'll know you won. And Morgan, do they need to come talk to you? Where's Morgan? Do you need to come back here and talk to you? She says yes. Right there in the corner. It's time to get the loot, okay? So the helicopter ride is Brent Christensen. Now this is the